Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. Now, today we are going to discuss about the generators in the OOPS concept. Now, we are just going to see that what are the generators, what we just mean from it, and how to write the program for this. Right? So, let's move on to the definition with the first, and after that, we'll be moving towards the program. So Python generators are a simple way of creating iterators, right? These are a simple way for creating iterators. Iterators we all know, right? When we just want to add some value, particularly add some value onto some loop or something like that, that is called iterators. So a generator is a function that returns an object which we can iterate over. It is easy as defining a normal function, but with a yield statement instead of a return statement. Okay. Now, generators are actually, you can just call them as functions only. Okay, these are actually another type of functions only which we actually make here. But what is the difference? That in normal functions, what we do, we simply use out the return statements. Right, we use the return statements for returning some value. But in generators, actually what we do, we use a yield statement, that is YIELD, yield statement for returning any output. This is the basic difference that comes under this yield function and even which comes under this for this function, okay, for this generators and even for this normal function, right? So it is actually these are what generators are. Now let me quickly let you know about the programming and all those things regarding the generators. So let me just come down here and okay, let me just minimize this thing a little bit so that it is easy to see the things. Right, let's begin now with the program for here. So let's say I just want to define something, right? That's it, let's say def. Name for my function is 1, okay, and then the bracket. Inside this, I want to pass on two parameters that are a comma b. I want to put the colon and come on to the next line, okay. Now, here basically, I just, instead of the return function, instead of return, I would simply use yield function here, yield, yield, okay. Instead of that, we simply use the yield, a. And after that, I would be using here as yield, 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 and then b, okay. So, yield a and yield b. Instead of return, we always use these two, you can just call it as keyword for inside these generators. Okay. Now, after that, what I can just do is that I can just pass some values here. Let's say I just want to pass p comma q is equal to, and in the one I just save the value. Let's say values are 3 comma 5. Okay, and coming on to the next line, I simply want to print p, and I simply want to print here as q, right? So this will actually work. Let me now just quickly run out my program here for a while, right? So here you are able to see the values for 3 and 5. So I haven't used any print statement, or I haven't used any return statement. So this answer I am getting because of this yield keyword that I have used here, right? So this is the use of this yield keyword that we actually apply and that we actually use here, right? I would just close this answer for here for a while. Now what I do, what I just like, if I just make a variable here, that is, let's say final. Okay, let's say final is a variable which I had made. Now into this, if I just call out the one function and pass some value, let me now just quickly comment out these lines here. Okay, if I now just, okay, just 1 second, right? Let's say in this I just pass 2 comma 4. Okay, and I want to print out final here. So print final. If I just now try to run this program, okay, so now just have a look. Basically what it is giving me, it is not displaying me the answer, but rather than it is giving me generated object at this particular position, right? So this is basically, if you declare one variable, then according to that you will not be getting any output. Fine. If I want to check out the type, so if I just write print and then type, and here if I just write here as final, and now again if I just run it here for a while, so now just have a look at what it is giving me. It is giving me that the type for the final variable which you had made here, it is a generator, right? So that I'm just getting here as an output. Fine. So I just done that thing. If I just want to convert it into the list format, if I just want to convert it into the list, then how will I be doing that? So for that I would be using here list1 is equal to, and here I'll be using list, okay, that is list, and into the bracket I'll be passing here as final the variable name which I had used above. Now I'll be just commenting these two lines as well here. Okay, just let me quickly print this thing as well. I use print, and in bracket I would just write here as list1. And now if I just run out my program, now have a look, now it has been converted into the list. Now I am able to see this output, that is 2 comma 4. So basically the number of parameters, the number of values which you have passed inside the function, you need to use that number of variables only, otherwise it will not show you the output. And if you just convert that into list, then it will basically give you the output. Okay, that I have done. Now what I will be just doing is that if I just want to now check out the list one, now that would be actually my list. I would just not do that, I would just comment it out here for a while. Right, this is done. Now let's use out some more function with the help of yield. Let's say I just make another program, another function, and again that function 1. Okay, let's not make it as 1, let's make it as 2. Okay, def2. And now what I can apply here is that I can give two values. Let's say that are a comma b. Again, just let me do one thing here. Let me just quickly comment out this above code which we had written. Otherwise, it will basically show us some or the other errors afterwards and will not basically allow us to run the program. Fine, that is done. Come on to the next line here. Now I would be just using here yield A and yield B. So yield A, and after that I would be using here as yield B, yield A and then yield B, right? So in that case, after that I would be using here as final is equal to 1. Okay, final is equal to 1, and okay, inside the bracket, let's say, okay, not 1, I would be using here as 2 because 2 is the name for my function, right? So final is equal to 2, and after that I'll be passing some value. Let's say values are 6 comma 5. Okay, and I would just write here, now I'll be just using one function, that is next, and in that I'll be writing here as final. Now if I run my program one time, okay, now have a look that it will only be giving me the false value that you have. So this next is actually one of the another function that we have in the generators, and what it actually helps us to do, it actually helps us to print the values one by one. Okay, now let's say if you just want to display the value that is 5. So in that case you'll be using here print. Then you'll be using next. Again you will be writing that answer. You will again be using the next. Now you'll be able to see both the answers that are 6 and 5. Let me show you that thing in a zoom way. Right, 6 and 5. Right. So this is actually which like how we can just apply this next function with the help of this yield. If you just want your output to come one by one, so in that you can apply this next function. If you just want to want that all the values that are coming, that should come on one go. So in that case what you can just do is that you can simply print out the statement whatever you just want, right? Now I have another one last program for this generator. Let me quickly comment out these three, and let me come down here. Fine, let's say I define a third function, that is def3. Okay, into this again I pass two parameters, let's say p comma q, right? Now what I would just do is that let's say I just apply a condition. I want to let's say I want to print the numbers for some particular range itself. Okay, let's say I apply while a is less than equal to b. Okay, while a is less than equal to b, and in that case basically use here as yield. Okay, that is why I, okay, instead of a and b it is p. While p is less than equal to q, the colon, and use here yield uh, yield p. Okay, I need to apply a condition that till the point the value for p is less than or equal to q, simply apply this yield function. Okay, yield p. And what to do here, I just need to be incremented. I just want it to be incremented, right? So a is equal to a plus 1. This goes on here, a is equal to a plus 1, right? Now I would just apply that one variable, let's say final, and then I would just write it as 3. Okay, and now in the bracket, let's say my values are 1 comma 6, right? I would come on to the next line. I would just try to print it one by one only, not in one go. I would just write here print, and inside this I would use the next, and inside that I would use here as final. And now I would just try to run it once. See, okay, just let me zoom in. The first answer that I am getting here is 1. Okay, now if I want to see the rest of the answers that are coming, so what I would be just doing is that I'd be writing here print, again I'd be adding the next, and again in bracket I'd be writing here as final. And now I would just run it once again. Okay, what it is saying me, it is saying me local variable a difference before assignment. Okay, just let me go above. Okay, so instead of the a, it should be p is equal to p plus q. Okay, now I'll just run this once again. Fine. Now you are able to see the answer as 2 also. Now if I just want to see the third output also, then what I would just do, I would again use out this print statement as well, that is print next, and that is final. Okay, I would just now again run it. Just have a look here. See, now it is printing me 1, 1, 2 and 3. Right, so I can just print it n number of times, whatever I just want. Let's say control V, and let's say control V, and even one more time. I had given it for 7 times. Let me run it. Now let's see what output will it be giving. See, it is giving me the value from 1 till 6. Okay, and after that it is giving me some error. Let's see. It is giving me that print next final is stop iteration. Why it will stop the iteration? Because I have given the condition here only till p less than equal to q, and p is storing the value as 1 and q is storing the value as 6. So it will only and only go from 1 till 6, right? So this is basically how we just use out the generators in Python programming. Let me just again go here and show you the definition which we had written here for generators, and that is Python generators are a simple way of creating iterators, as I just showed you that thing right now, right? And a generator is a function that returns an object, that is iterator, which we can iterate over one value at a time. It is easy as defining a normal function but with a yield statement instead of a return statement. Right, so I hope I made this thing very clear to you about the generators, that what actually are generators and how do we just write the program and define the generators in the Python programming language. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.